back again with another YouTube video. It's your boy Ryan G. Today we're gonna react to 10 wrestlers WWE instantly regretted firing. Let's get right into the video.
Join Bet360.
Alright, we got an ad to start off.
WWE instantly regretted firing. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10, Daniel Bryan. The debut of the Nexus faction on WWE television was impactful, memorable, and borderline legendary. It was a TV-14 angle delivered in the world of PG, and unfortunately, this is where the problems began. Due to Daniel Bryan choking out Justin Roberts with his own tie, this wasn't seen in line with WWE's established PG guidelines, and it was reported that numerous political players and sponsors complained directly to WWE. WWE would reluctantly let Bryan go from his contract, and it was widely reported that this was
So I heard about this story, so I'm guessing he had broke scripts, and that's why he got fired, because he went over the script and did that. What was that, Josh Matthews? That wasn't Josh Matthews, was it? Who was that? Nah, that's somebody else. I forgot his name.
something that they simply just didn't want to do. It was only fitting that when the backlash died down, WWE would bring Bryan back into the mix, and they didn't hesitate to do this within a few short months. Bryan would make his return at the 2010 SummerSlam pay-per-view in the main event of the show, and Bryan would go on to become one of the top names in the company, winning the world title on numerous occasions. Number 9, Finlay. Now, it could often be the case that WWE rushes into firing a talent or a producer, and this was a case with Finlay. Finlay was the producer for a live event on the road to WrestleMania 27, and Finlay would order The Miz to interrupt the national anthem. Unfortunately for
So he had gotten fired because what happened?
WWE and Finlay, members of the National Guard were in attendance, and they were extremely offended. The blame fell on Finlay, who was punished in the most severe way possible as he was released from his WWE contract.
He got released because of that.
The backlash to this internally in WWE was one of uproar, as Finlay was beloved within the locker room, and even names such as Jim Ross would criticize the move publicly. It was almost instantaneously that WWE realized that they got it completely wrong, and that Finlay shouldn't have been fired. Finlay would be brought back into the company the following year with open arms, and thankfully there was no bad blood on either side. Number 8, Bronson Reed. One of Triple H.
Yeah, because Finlay, he still works in the backstage, you know. He probably books matches and stuff.
His pet projects when he was running NXT was Bronson Reed. Reed would become NXT North American champion, and on paper, he had every tool it took to be a major player on the roster. Sadly, when Reed had his official main roster tryout, Vince McMahon hated his work. McMahon hated his work so much that Reed would be fired from the company. This must have enraged Triple H, as he had put so much effort into getting Reed over, and now it was all ruined. When Triple H received creative power on the main roster, one of his first...
See, I feel like if he didn't get injured, they would have gave the title to him. But he had gotten injured, right? So
official act was to bring Reed back. Reed has been outstanding since his return, and he has truly stepped up and delivered at the level that Triple H believed he could all those years ago. Number 7, Toni Storm. Toni Storm has emerged as one of the top stars in AEW, and her character work
I don't know too much about her.
Received critical acclaim and appreciation, even from AEW's biggest haters. Storm was under a WWE contract for several years, yet all WWE did with her on the main roster was book her in horrendously delivered comedic segments, which in turn made her look like an utter fool. When Storm asked for her release, it was immediately granted by WWE. This was a case of WWE not knowing what they had until it was gone. Storm would reflect on why she exited the company during an appearance on Oral Sessions, and Storm didn't exactly hold back. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. A lot of people don't enjoy it at all. For some people, it just works out, and for others, it just makes them miserable. And I guess I just fell into that category. I guess it just wasn't for me at that point. Let's face it, they just fire people left, right, and center out of the blue. I could be fired next week, and then it's like, what's the point? It just got very pointless, to be honest. It's been hard to convey that, especially to fans, especially to the people that just aren't in the business, and they'll never understand. I must sound ridiculous to those people, but it's the reality of what it's actually like. WWE, without a doubt, would re-sign Storm within seconds if she decided to leave AEW, and Storm is a great example of why sometimes it's always a good idea to bet on yourself. Number 6, Mickie James.
From Richmond, Virginia, Mickie James.
WWE may not have outright rejected firing Mickie James in 2021, but the way they handled her release would have certainly led to a lot of regret and anger within the company. James was released from WWE due to budget cuts relating to the COVID-19 pandemic, and James took to social media to share that WWE had sent her belongings back to her in a trash bag. Yeah, that's right, a trash bag. It showed the world that WWE really didn't care about their talent, and the incident received mainstream news coverage. It was a truly horrendous look for WWE, and they knew they'd just made a huge mistake. But WWE
I mean, when she had came back, they didn't really do much with her anyway, so.
We did take immediate action, and this is what James had to say during an interview with Ariel Helwani. Personally, I wasn't as offended as
they could have, but they had her. I think they had her with what was it, Alexa Bliss?
the rest of the world was offended, just because I feel like it does suck, and it's very, the symbology of it all. You know, even when you think about it professionally, or however you feel personally, how you've been professionally booked or any of those things, all of those things aside, like that bit alone is kind of like already on a low. James will go on to state that she received calls from Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, and Vince McMahon, and the WWE were quick to confirm that the name responsible, reportedly being Mark Carrano, was no longer employed with the company. Number 5, Aleister Black. A former NXT champion, Aleister Black was yet another name released from WWE due to the COVID-19 budget cuts. This release was...
And I think he's supposed to be coming back, right? For like he was like on a SmackDown taping or something.
...was baffling, as Black had just returned to WWE programming with a new character, and they were already giving up on him. A matter of hours after Black's release was made official, it was reported that numerous companies, including AEW, wanted to sign him up, and overnight, Black became the biggest free agent in all of wrestling. Triple H must have been devastated, as Black was one of his top stars in NXT, and
one thing about Triple H, he'll bring a wrestler back.
Now Vince McMahon was releasing him without a care in the world. It was reported for years after the initial release that WWE would want Black back if he ever left AEW, and fast forward to 2025, this is now on the horizon as Black is set to make his grand return to WWE programming. Number 4, AJ Styles. AJ Styles was working in the final years at WCW without an official contract, and where WWE came...
AJ Styles has good in-ring ability. He had a good career in TNA, both TNA and WWE. Really good career. He won TNA World Title. He's won titles in WWE. I think he's won US title. I'm talking about mid-card title. I think he's won US. And then he's won World Heavyweight title. Not the Universal.
Came calling, they knew AJ was immensely talented, but all they offered him was a developmental deal with OVW. WWE had the chance to sign...
He won the world title, so that's like the main title at that time.
In one of the biggest names of the 21st century to the main roster, yet they cut ties with him completely. AJ would eventually sign for TNA, where he would become their poster boy for the next decade, and AJ would cement himself as one of the biggest names in the world that wasn't signed to WWE. When he would finally put pen to paper for WWE at long last in 2016, the buzz was palpable. Now, there was initial concern at first that they wouldn't know how to use AJ, and whilst it was a rocky road at first,
AJ pushed AJ Styles to the top.
AJ has had a Hall of Fame career in WWE alone. Number 3, Bray Wyatt.
Rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. Good wrestler. He's won a lot of titles. He did a lot his whole career. Good gimmicks. Good in-ring ability. One of the best promo talkers of all time. You gotta admit that.
One of the COVID-19 related releases that received significant criticism from fans was that of Bray Wyatt. Wyatt was reportedly let go due to his high salary, as well as WWE being in a creative rut with him. It was said that Vince McMahon often had issues with the former WWE champion, so it ultimately was a no-brainer for WWE to let him go. But Wyatt was one of the most creative minds WWE had ever had under contract, and it was backwards at how they were just willing to let him go.
Come on. It's an unskippable ad.
Without a second thought. The fan backlash was rampant and fans were actively campaigning for WWE to bring him back. And this must have been the exact moment when WWE had just realized how popular Wyatt was with the audience. McMahon, to the surprise of many, wouldn't opt to bring Wyatt back. Instead, it was Triple H, who was a long-term supporter of Wyatt, and he insisted that Wyatt return to the company in 2022. Number 2, Matt Hardy. In 2005, Matt Hardy's world would be shattered when he found out that Lita was having a real-life affair with fellow colleague Edge. Hardy, upon finding out this information, would take to the internet to share his side of the story, and in typical WWE fashion, they found this to be unprofessional.
This is like the third video where I seen this. That storyline.
And they released him from his WWE contract. To say this angered WWE fans would be an understatement, especially because Lita and Edge were receiving pushes on TV, yet the man that was wronged was now unemployed. Firing Hardy instead of offering him support was a terrible PR move for WWE, and media outlets across the world would pick up the story. Hardy was supported both online as well as at live shows, as chants in support of him were delivered on Raw, SmackDown, and live events. The reaction was so severe that WWE were forced to bring him back, and this rehiring should have come with a formula.
They need to start doing that. You know, have more storylines where they get personal, like bring real life scripts. But you know, this was a different type of time period, so.
Apology and an acknowledgement of WWE's mistake. And number 1, CM Punk. There was a ton of discourse in late 2014 when the WWE would sink as low to fire a man on his wedding day, and the majority of fans were under the impression that WWE,
He was on his wedding day.
without a doubt, acted with malice when it came to the firing of CM Punk. Punk walked out of WWE following the 2014 Royal Rumble, but he wasn't released from his contract until the end of the calendar year. WWE, for whatever reason, waited to fire him on his actual wedding day, and with Punk still having friends in WWE and his wedding date being common knowledge, all the signs pointed to this being deliberate. What WWE wouldn't have expected was for Punk to tell the world what they had done, and this would have been a moment that WWE knew they had messed up on. Their story was so newsworthy at the time that McMahon directly addressed it on a live podcast. And McMahon
CM Punk was gone for so long, but I'm glad he's back. He is my favorite, so.
would apologize to Punk.
10 red, that was 10 red, that was, hold on now. I literally just stuttered. I just said that like 3-4 times straight, because I was trying to talk fast. That was 10 wrestlers WWE instantly regretted firing. Subscribe, like, comment, tell me what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. I got more videos coming, stay tuned, and yeah, Uriah out.